right?
Yeah.
So, if you all heard my message last week, what to expect when you're expecting, did you turn any red stories into river stories this week? Some of you are nodding your head, some of you are pondering. So what river stories did you expand? Anybody want to share? Yay, nay? Did you expand any river stories? Did you turn any red stories into river stories? Somewhat. So, we are 100% responsible for what we subscribe to in our life, in our mind, what we surround ourselves with, what we watch, what we listen to, our environment. Kind of like the picture I just painted of being in the serving line at the Salvation Army and having everybody beep off and sing to that song. We are 100% responsible to what we subscribe to. So my talk title today, Renew Your Subscription, Instructions Found Within. I'm going to cover a couple of definitions. The definition of renew: resume after interruption, return, to take up again, come back to, begin again, reestablish a relationship, give fresh life or strength to, replace something that is broken or worn out. Did that resonate with anything that might be going on in your life right now? And then subscription, the action of making or agreeing to receive or participate in something. Anything. An arrangement by which access is granted. Ooh, I like that. Bing, bing. Your wish is my command, right? An advance made to receive or participate in something. So, we're here to renew our subscriptions to life. And what a great time to do that, right? The very first weekend of spring. Yeah. So do you remember those pesky little subscription renewal cards that you would find inside of magazines that would always fall out? Or was it just me when I would carry a magazine somewhere or hand it to somebody or open it up? Those little pesky renew your subscription cards would fall to the floor, or you'd find them underneath a dresser. It would just go all kinds of places. Those contained instructions on how to renew your subscription. It was kind of a, hey, your subscription is getting ready to expire. You don't want to miss out on this issue. So fill out this card and send it back in. Back in the day when we didn't really do email or go to a website. I tell you, I kind of miss those days a little bit. But you know, those were pesky little cards, weren't they? But what if cards fell from the sky for us today, huh? Like we're going through our day and this card falls from the sky and says, hey, wake up. You need to renew your subscription to this. Remember that desire and that intention that you were holding in your heart, and you might be on autopilot. You might be forgetting about that right now. So why don't you renew that subscription? So it'd be kind of nice if we had those cards falling from the sky. So with it being the first weekend of spring, powerful time for renewal, planting seeds that we desire to bloom into fruition. Because life is not happening to us. Life is responding to us. Our dreams are waiting for us to come true. Our dreams are waiting for us to come true. Maybe through our subscriptions. Maybe through that in which we focus and invest our time and attention on. Because it is done unto us as we believe. What we impart to it becomes our reality. So our message today is a bit of an expansion on the message from last week. Like the tiny acorns contains the ability to grow an oak tree, this infinite intelligence that lives within us, it is who we are. This thing is so large that I don't think we can fully grasp all of it in its entirety, yet we consistently are invited to live knowing that we are the individual expressions of the divine, of God, of Spirit, whatever you subscribe to as the name for your highest being, that part within you that is connected to the one, to the all. In The Art of Life, Ernest Holmes writes, there is a universal wholeness seeking expression through everything. We are calling it simply life. The religionists call it God. The philosopher calls it reality. Life is infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. It is the invisible essence and substance of every visible form. Its nature is goodness, truth, wisdom, and beauty, as well as energy and imagination. Our highest satisfaction comes from a sense of conscious union with this invisible life. All human endeavor is an attempt to get back to its first principles, to find such an inward wholeness that all sense of fear, doubt, and uncertainty vanishes. And so our daily word today was wholeness. So Ernest is saying that our intense desire within is to really come into that awareness. That the invitation is to operate as oneness, not to know it, not even to just be it, but to become it and think and act and speak as oneness, as wholeness. Life waits upon your discovery of natural laws, your discovery of yourself, and the discovery of your relationships to the great whole. So I'm going to share a quick little story with you about that kind of explains it a little bit. I have this story about God in the limousine. Have you ever heard the story about God in the limousine? So imagine that God just rang your doorbell. Now, even though I don't believe in separation and I know God is not outside of myself, for the purposes of this story, go with me. Right. So God rings your doorbell. You go and answer the door. God's at the doorstep and said, come with me. We're going on a journey of your life. And God motions to the driveway, and there is just a beautiful, luxurious limousine, and God says, you have a choice. You may choose to ride inside of the limousine and enjoy all of its comforts, all of its luxury, or, and they point to the little shredded rope behind the limousine, and God says, or you can choose to be dragged along behind it. But we're going on this journey. You get to choose how you get to experience it. So that's the little trick, the little story about God and the limousine. There's a Sufi proverb that says, I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God. So there is no separation. Guy Finley, a spiritual teacher, wrote, we are not simply wells of containment. We are also well springs from which the spillover of divine guidance, wisdom, love, and harmony may pour. We are active fountainheads through which the infinite expresses. We would do well to pay attention to the content of that expression. So how would that work? How would that work? Pay attention to that. How do we know how anything works? We read the instructions, right? So there are those that read the instructions, follow every step, word for word, and there are those that don't, and then they marry each other. Did you ever realize that? I know that is the case in my life. Y'all can figure out who does who here, but that's the case in my life. So how things work, you read the instructions, or some take things apart to figure it out. But like the prodigal son who had to go out and experience the world in order to know for himself, dragged along the back of the limo's bumper, to figure out how you can choose to ride inside. I don't think we automatically know how to make that choice. I think we have created life experiences that guide us to come to a greater awareness of how to make that choice. Abraham Lincoln says, you have to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather was. You got to do your own growing. Ernest Holmes says, the life which we live is the universal life expressing through us. Else, how could we live? Our thought and emotion is the use we make, consciously or unconsciously, of this original creative thing that is the cause of everything. We are thinking, willing, knowing, conscious centers of life. We are surrounded by, immersed in, and there is a flowing through us, a creative something. Call it what you will. The sum total of all of our thought, will, purpose, belief creates a tendency in this law that causes it to react to us according to the sum total of that belief. So if you recall in my message last week, when I talked about how someone heard someone say, life is hard and then you die, and we talked about what to expect when you're expecting, and life's like, here's more hard. If that's what you claim, here you go. What you claim, here you go. So that's the way it works, folks. The sum total of all of our thought, will, purpose, belief creates a tendency in this law that causes it to react to us according to the sum total of that belief. The gardener goes forth, Ernest says, to sow his seeds. He has learned that as he sows, so shall he reap. That the law works the same for all alike. We get what we put out there in life. Words are like boomerangs. You put them out there and they come back to you. It's just like planting seeds. So I want to tell you a story that depicts that, how words are like boomerangs. And it's a story written by a columnist and author, Mary Schmidt. So I'm going to read the story as she wrote it. She wrote it in the first person. So just know these things didn't happen to me. I'm just reading in the first person as she wrote it. So Mary said that when she was in high school, the movie Grease came out. That is not the case for me because I'm a little younger than that, so just so y'all know. But when she was in high school, the movie Grease came out. How many of you remember the movie Grease? Were you in high school when the movie came out? little poll here. So she said that there was a scene in the movie where all the girls were in the lunchroom, and one of the girls said a line that I thought was so funny that I repeated it over and over again, hundreds of times. I drove my sister bananas, and I'll tell you what that line was shortly. Fast forward 5 years into the future. I'm running a restaurant with a man that I am engaged to. I had picked out a very expensive diamond ring, so it was on layaway at the jeweler's. On my birthday, he decided to surprise me by paying off the ring and bringing it to me at work. I was so excited. I wanted to show everyone my ring. It hadn't been fitted yet, but I was running around, showing everybody, getting so excited, and then all of a sudden, restaurants do what restaurants do, and we got super busy. So I am in total work mode, running and taking orders and flipping burgers and making salads and setting up the salad bar. And then, as I'm clearing off a table and throwing some trash away, I realized my ring was gone. I haven't even had it for 4 hours, and it's gone. So I'm frantic. I began backtracking all of my steps. I'm crying. I'm getting everyone involved. We took the whole evening to look until I just had to let it go. We all needed to get home and get some sleep before the opening again in the morning. My mother used to say, nothing is ever lost, it's only been misplaced. And I was holding on to that with every single tear. I didn't get much sleep that night. The next morning, I'm back at work and I begin to set up the salad bar. Because the day before, I had made about 10 salads. Potato salad, macaroni salad, jello salad, fruit salad, carrot salad, you name it, I made it. Well, I'm putting salads in their containers, and all of a sudden, there's my diamond in the macaroni salad. So the line I said 5 years earlier from the movie Grease, I lost my diamond in the macaroni salad. Do you all remember that line from the movie? I had forgotten about that line until I called my sister, and all she could say was, well, duh, remember that line from Grease that you kept repeating over and over again, like over 100 times? Oh my gosh, the power of our words are like universal boomerangs. The words go out there and they come back. So she says, watch your words, baby. Could you imagine? So, in In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest says the thing works for us by working through us and is us always. It spreads itself over the whole universe and shouts at us from every angle, but it can become power to us only when we recognize its power. An excerpt from a Native American poem from an elder says, if you wish to survive, you will find the guide inside. I'd like to add to that, or change it a little, by saying if you wish to thrive, you will find the guide inside. Emerson said, there is no great or small to the soul that maketh all. Then we may experience a greater good because we have conceived it. Good is universal. How much can we receive? How much good can we receive? Did you ever think about that? What did you say, Eva? Infinite. Infinite good. How much good can we receive? As much as we believe we can receive. There is infinite good for sure. And how much we can receive is how much we believe that we can. And the good news is that can change at any moment. As much as we can believe, it will be done unto us. So like in the story of the prodigal son, the father said to find a fatted calf for a feast. His other son had a problem with that. He said, you never so much as had a skinny goat for a feast for me. So how much good do you think he was receiving? Skinny goat mentality or fatted calf mentality. There is a difference. Ernest says our belief sets the limit to our demonstration of a principle, which of itself is without limit. It is not a question of its willingness nor of its ability. It's entirely a question of our receptivity. What are we subscribing to? Let's check our receptivity. Skinny goat or fatted calf? The prodigal son had a greater receptivity of his good because, I believe, because he had had the experience of discovery for himself. Right? So you must go within to find out. There is universal mind, spirit, and intelligence that is the origin of everything. It is first cause, God. This universal life energy finds an outlet in and through all that is energized and through everything that lives. Ernest goes on to say, we now know that this is what we are, because we could not be anything else. We do not know how much of this we are. If God is to interpret itself to man, God must interpret itself through man. The seed of perfection is hidden within. And Ralph Waldo Emerson says the creation of 1,000 forests is in 1 acorn. Think about that. Think about what's within us. Think about that infinite intelligence that is always present, is always operating, and is always alive and well within each one of us. You have everything within you that you need in this moment to become true to your dreams. We have everything that we need in this moment to become true to this dream. We plant the seeds of creation into the wall through our conscious use of our thought, and we release it, knowing that God's got this. The molding, the creation of our lives comes from our choices, our beliefs, our habits, our behaviors, what we subscribe to in life. A Welsh proverb says a seed hidden in the heart of an apple is an orchard invisible. And George Orwell says we take the good wherever we find it, making it our own, insofar as we understand it. Good is universal. So you are coming true to your dreams in this moment, in this very moment. So my invitation is to stay the course. Don't dig up the seed. We talked a little bit about that last week. You know what it feels like when you're on the path, when you're on target. You all know what it feels like when you're on path, when you're on target, right? You know what it feels like when you're not. That feels yucky. I call that yucky when I'm not. But the good news is I'm the captain of my own ship. I'm the sower of my own seeds. I get to decide. If I want carrots, I'm not going to sow a pumpkin seed. If I want carrots, I'm not going to tell a Rhett story about carrots. I'm going to tell a river story about carrots. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to my message from last week. Oh, your journey has molded you for greater good, and it has been exactly what you needed it to be. So the point of this is definitely not to do any shaming or complaining about it. Don't think that you have lost time. There is no shortcutting to life. It took each and every situation that you have encountered to bring you to who and what you are right now. So right now, you're right on time. Ernest said, we are never left without a witness to the divine. So I have another example, another story, which I'm going to show to you through a quick video. It's a little 3-minute video. But how many of you have ever heard of the Miracle Man? You ever heard of Morris Goodman, the Miracle Man? His story was very shortly depicted in the movie The Secret a long time ago. So I'm going to show you a little clip here. And don't want to cause any PTSD. There's just he's telling his story, and his story is about how he crashed his plane. So there's just a little bit of medical visuals in there, so prepare yourself. Thank you very much to our amazing audio-visual team back there. Let's just all give Tony and Diane a hand. We deal with a lot of moving parts.
Well, my story begins on March 10, 1981. It really changed my whole life. It was a day I'll never forget. I crashed an airplane. I ended up in the hospital completely paralyzed. My spinal cord was crushed. I broke the first and second cervical vertebrae. My swelling reflex was destroyed. I couldn't eat or drink. My diaphragm was destroyed. I couldn't breathe. All I could do was blink my eyes. The doctor, of course, said all my life I'd be a vegetable. All I'd do is blink my eyes the rest of my life. That's the picture they saw of me, but it didn't matter what they thought. The main thing was what I thought. I picture myself being a normal person again, walking out of that hospital. The only thing I had to work with in the hospital was my mind. As long as you have your mind, you can put things back together again. I was hooked to a respirator, and they said I'd never breathe on my own again because my diaphragm was destroyed. But this little voice kept saying to me, breathe deep, breathe deep. Finally, I was weaned from it. They were at a loss for an explanation. See, I could not afford to allow anything to come in my mind that would distract me from my goal and from my vision. Well, I set a goal to walk out of the hospital on Christmas. That was my goal. Eight months later, I walked out of the hospital on my own 2 feet. They said it couldn't be done. That's a day I will never forget. For people that are sitting out there right now watching this program that are hurting, if I wanted to sum up my life and sum up for people what they can do in life, I would sum it up this way in 6 words. Man becomes what he thinks about.
Powerful, huh?
Yeah, very.
Have you ever heard that story?
Now that you mention it, yeah,
Yeah.
I've forgotten that.
So he famously said, in the hospital, they do the medical work, but I do the healing work. It's really the I, the capital I, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, do you recall what he summed up at the very end? What he said? Man becomes
What he thinks about.
what he thinks about. What are you subscribing to?
The
What
subscription.
are you subscribing to? Mhm. Karen Raven says, only as high as I reach can I grow. Only as far as I seek can I go. Only as deep as I look can I see. And only as much as I dream can I be. Our dreams are waiting for us to become true to them. Dr. John DeMartini says, heaven on earth is a choice you must make, not a place that you must find. And so if our dreams are waiting for us to become true for them, I have a few questions for you. What are your dreams? What are your dreams for yourself, for your family, for your life, for your home? What are your dreams for your community? What are your dreams for this place, for this space? Is it time to renew some subscriptions in regards to the dreams of your life? Is it maybe time to cancel some subscriptions that might be running in the sidelines, in the side recording there? Are there any rut stories that you might need to set aside or table or maybe just toss in the garbage so that you can never tell yourself those stories again? Or maybe you'd like to take a rut story that you're telling yourself about your life or your community or this place, and maybe you'd like to weave it like a tapestry into a river story. And what might that river story be? So when you think of your spiritual community, what thoughts come to mind? And you can say them to yourself or you can say them out loud. Just think about that for a moment. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new moment. We are in the midst of spring renewal. So when you think about your life, when you think about this life, when you think about your spiritual community, what does it look like? What does it feel like? Sometimes I hear, oh, we want to grow. We want to be successful. We want to be able to serve the community. That's wonderful. What does that look like? What does that feel like? How might each one of us want or need to show up and do or be or think or speak in order to subscribe to that dream? That dream that is waiting for us to come true to it for your own lives. What might you need to think and do and speak and experience in order for that to come true for you? I noticed the energy in here got quite reflective and introspective. So you're going within, aren't you? The instructions are found within, right?
Right.
I want to share with you a message from a Hopi elder that I find is, I feel in my heart as if it's kind of ringing true right now. So I want to share it with you. You have been telling the people that this is the 11th hour. Now you must go back and tell the people that this is the hour. And there are things to be considered. Where are you living? What are you doing? What are your relationships? Are you in right relation? Where is your water? Know your garden. It is time to speak your truth. It is time to create your community. Be good to each other and do not look outside of yourself for the leader. There is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They will feel like they are being torn apart and will suffer greatly. Know the river has its destination. The elders say that we must let go of the shore, push off into the middle of the river, and keep our eyes open and our hearts above the water. See who is in there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey comes to a halt. The time of the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitudes. See, I banished it so much I couldn't even say it. Let me read that again. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in sacred manner and in celebration. And we are the ones that we've been waiting for. So that is a direct take from the Elder Hopi statement. So you know that song that I've played a few times? I played it at the beginning of the drumming circle. I played it at the beginning of our first listening circle a few weeks ago after the service. You all remember that song? We Shall Be Known? Yeah. I'm going to read the lyrics to you. I'm not going to play it. But we shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time that we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. The world will always present conditions, some beautiful, some painful, that tempt us into resignation, hopelessness, or limited thinking. To expect better, what to expect when you're expecting? To expect better is a revolutionary act. It's a courageous stand for living our best lives today and cultivating the future. One that invites us to see joy and sorrow as proximate and still choose hope, still choose to see a better way, when sometimes there seems to be no way. So this is a new dawn. This is a new day. What are we subscribing to? How might we subscribe to our dreams in relation to this community? What are some of the things that came to mind when I asked that question?
Get out of the year and move through anyway.
Yeah, that was great, Sandra. Thank you. Yeah.
I think it's, to me, it's happening right now. This is the manifestation of what we've been desiring. And I don't see how it could possibly not expand. It's just, it's an inclusive energy, and the fact that there aren't more people in the seats is not an affirmation that we are limited. It's an affirmation that we have potential.
Absolutely. We're sowing the seeds right now.
Yes, we are.
This is spring and I'm doing a lot of planting.
Yeah.
I've got my hands dirty and I've got dirt underneath my fingernails, but I'm doing a lot of planting. And I can't do it alone, though. Well, I could, but that would be the definition of insanity.
Right.
And I'm not going to subscribe to that one.
Why would you want to do it alone?
So there's all kinds of cool things happening. We have our Facebook page is up and running again, so please go there, like, subscribe, follow, share. We've got Melinda working on our website, and I'm working with her to get that current and going. And got weekly updates happening there. We're doing drumming circles at least once a month, and we're getting ready to open everything up to classes. And we're producing really amazing Sunday services. Yes, Perdaya?
Well, I like how in the tutel that there's the there's a place you can click and go right to the top.
That's wonderful,
And,
yes.
I've, every time I've not been able to be here and wanted to tune in, I had to do a lot of stuff trying to figure out how to sign on, and I went, oh, all I have to do is click that button.
Yeah, that's
And then
wonderful,
to
isn't it?
tell.
That's great. Thank you. So we've got a lot of things that are percolating and happening, and the invitation here, there is a sincere invitation to renew our subscription to this community and to really be thinking about what comes up for you. When I ask the question, what are some of the ways that we can think about it, and what are some river stories that we can tell that will support our desires to demonstrate it? As Morris Goodman demonstrated the power of visualization, the strength of only focusing on what he desired to demonstrate. And do you recall in the movie, the little clip, he stated that he could not afford to entertain any thoughts that did not support his desires. I don't believe we can afford to do that. Not because of not desiring the challenges that go with that. The reason why I say that is because our dreams are waiting for us to become true for them. One of the things that I absolutely cannot stand is letting people down. I cannot stand if I let people down. I don't want to let our dreams down. I don't want to let our dreams down. So, let's focus on some river stories, and let's start telling each other some river stories. And let's let go of some subscriptions that we might have been renewing for a long time that may have served its purpose but no longer does. And let's know and become true to our dreams. Now, last week, if you'll recall how I ended the service, we talked about what you were expecting. So I'll say, what are you subscribing to? Because whatever it is, it's on its way. Thank you.